Milano hosted the 2012 Giro d'Italia presentation with a very pink stage decorated in preparation of the unveiling of next year's route. However, first it was time to pay respect to Wouter Weiland, who lost his life in this year's race. 2011 Giro d'Italia was tarnished by the events on stage 3 when Leopard Trek rider Wouter Weiland died on the descent from the Passo del Bocco. A year beforehand, the Giro had produced one of Weiland's proudest moments when he'd won the third stage into Mittelberg, but that memory seemed far away on the 9th of May 2011, and it quickly caused the remembrance of others who'd suffered a similar fate on Grand Tours, the last of which had been Fabio Casartelli during the 1995 Tour de France. Weiland's family gathered at the spot of his death to leave wreaths of flowers in remembrance of the rider one day after his tragic death, and hours later his cycling family paid their respects with a neutralised stage into Livorno. He is a rider who will not ever be forgotten on the Giro, as was explained by his trainer Luca Guacilena, who paid tribute to him at the 2012 Giro presentation.
Ma diverse iniziative sono state fatte. Principalmente sulla strada d'allenamento sul fiume Schelde è stato dedicato un monumento a Wouter. Non più tardi di 3 mesi fa è stato dedicato allo stadio di atletica, che era il primo sport che Wouter ha praticato, ma sicuramente la cosa più bella è la nascita di sua figlia Alizé, che sta bene e a cui grazie alla fondazione Wouter Weiland, che ha raccolto, grazie all'aiuto di tutti ovviamente, un fondo economico abbastanza importante, cercherà di garantire nel rispetto e nella memoria di suo padre un futuro, pensiamo, roseo.
Hello, and we're at the Giro presentation for 2012. I'm with Vincenzo Nibali, one of the men who'll be hoping to win that Giro d'Italia. It starts in Denmark. Ma Vincenzo, che ne pare il Giro 2012?
Ma è un giro molto bello, sicuramente l'ultima settimana è quella più dura, è un giro anche molto più facile rispetto a quello dell'anno scorso e nient'altro, quindi poi l'ultima settimana sarà quella decisiva col passo dello Stelvio.
E poi vincere?
Ma vincere è sempre un po' difficile, però cercheremo un po' di vedere questo Giro d'Italia, di studiarlo anche con la squadra per vedere anche nei prossimi programmi se sarò presente.
Grazie, in bocca al lupo. Vincenzo Nibali then hoping to win the Giro d'Italia if, of course, he participates. The key stage, the one that contains a Stelvio.
So to the route itself, starting in the Danish town of Herning on Saturday the 5th of May, the first stage sees a return to an individual time trial over a relatively flat 8.7 kilometres. Stage 2 also starts and finishes in Herning, but it's a rather bigger loop out onto the coast of the mainland. Run over 206 kilometres, it's another flat stage, but does contain some rather cheap GPM points. Stage 3 takes the riders southwest on the peninsula to the city of Horsens. It's another loop to and from the start point, running 190 kilometres, with some slightly more undulating landscape, including more GPM points. But as with the 2010 event in Holland, it's only when the race returns to the mainland of Italy that the real battle for the Maglia Verde begins. An early rest day allows the transit from Denmark to Italy for the start of Stage 4 on Wednesday the 9th of May and the beginning of a brutal 12 days in a row for the peloton. The opening stage on the Italian mainland is in Verona and is a team time trial around the city of the star-crossed lovers, the course 32.2 kilometres in total. Stage 5 takes the riders over a very flat course from Modena to Fano via Bologna, Forli and Rimini. There's just one small GPM towards the end of the 190-kilometre route to keep those in the green jersey interested. Stage 6 produces the first real challenges as far as climbing's concerned, as between Urbino and Porto Sant'Elpidio there are 4 category climbs. Stage 7 takes the riders back into the centre of Italy, from Recanati to Rocco di Cambio. They pass through L'Aquila en route. Can this 202-kilometre stage produce the same fireworks as the 2010 stage to L'Aquila, one wonders? The Giro's first summit finish comes on Stage 8 from Sulmona to Lago Laceno. 3 category climbs over the 229-kilometre course. It has history due to Alex Zuller's attack in '98. Stage 9 between Benevento to Frosinone will be sweet relief as it's an untaxing day in the saddle running 171 kilometres. A stage full of photo ops greets us on Stage 10, running from Civitavecchia to Assisi. There's a category climb at Sella di Viepri, and we may see the overall contenders lay down the gauntlet here. Stage 11 is the longest on the 2012 Giro, as easy to Montecatini Terme with a testing category climb at Poggio alla Croce. Overall, the stage runs 243 kilometres. And a day later, stage 12, Saravezza to Sestre Levante, sees an early trip to Aliget's home of La Spezia before taking off into the mountains once more for 4 category climbs over the 157-kilometre course, which once again will allow some posturing from Maglia Rosa pretenders. Stage 13, Savona to Cervere, 121 kilometres into Piemonte, sees just the 1 category climb of Montezemolo early on in the stage, but overall it's likely to be settled by a sprint. Whilst the first 5-star mountain challenge comes in stage 14, Carrasco to Cervinia, 205 kilometres through Torino, including the first major alpine test of the Col de Joux and heading right up to the French border. 97 was the last time the Giro was here. But there's still one more stage before the riders manage to grab a break. Stage 15 taking them from Busto Arsizio to Piano del Resinelli near Lecco, 172 kilometres, 4 GPMs, including the mountain top finish in Lombardia.
Here with Michele Scarponi, of course, second last year, hoping to do the same this year. Questo è un giro per Scarponi 2012, o no?
Sì, lo era anche quello del 2011, insomma. Penso che sia un giro adatto a diversi corridori. Io mi inserisco con quei 4, 5, 6 corridori, non so chi è che verrà al giro, che ambiscono per lottare a vincerlo. Nel 2010 ho fatto un buon quarto posto, l'anno scorso mi sono migliorato facendo secondo. È chiaro che mi piacerebbe presentarmi e mi presenterò nelle condizioni ideali per lottare con i migliori fino alla fine, però penso che non ci sia un favorito sugli altri.
E poi qualche tappa in particolare, hai avuto un'oretta per digerire un po' la ruta?
Ma c'è qualche tappa fino all'ultima, gli ultimi 3 giorni, mi sembra 4, il giro non è che sia durissimo, però non è neanche facile perché comunque poi sono i corridori che fanno la corsa, c'è sempre una salita che non ti aspetti, il vento e quindi sono i corridori che fanno il giro e fanno le corse. Sarà un giro bellissimo, sarà durissimo.
Grazie, ci vediamo l'anno prossimo.
Okay,
ciao.
ciao.
So Michele Scarponi hoping to do his best to win the Giro next year. He doesn't know which stages yet, but of course those big 3 stages towards the end will be key.
It's unlikely that the 2012 Giro will be decided before the final week, and stage 16 is a precursor of the challenges of what is to come. Limoni sul Garda to Falzese, where Damiano Cunego rode into pink in 2004. Stage 17 is where it really kicks off. Falzese to Cortina d'Ampezzo, 4 category climbs once more, with the Passo Valparolo and Passo Giao both included. However, just so the sprinters don't disappear early, there is stage 18, mostly downhill from San Vito di Cadore to Vedelago and just 139 kilometres long. But it's back into the mountains on stage 19, Treviso to Alpe di Pampeaggio, Val di Fiemme, 197 kilometres, 5 category climbs, including a mountain top finish. And then to stage 20, the one everyone's been talking about. Another day with 5 category climbs. Stage 20 is the creation of the Tifosi, with an online survey conducted to find out the dream penultimate stage for the fans. This is what they came up with, and it's a monster, including the Mortirolo and Stelvio. Stage 21 is the regular individual time trial in Milan, starting at the Castello Sforzesco and finishing in the Piazza del Duomo. Once again, the winner of the Giro will be honoured in front of the race's spiritual home.
The Giro d'Italia is a very important race for our sport and over the years has produced many legends. And indeed, I hope it will produce in the years to come many more legends. The UCI loves the Giro d'Italia. Indeed, every year since I've been president, I've managed to visit it at least once. And once again, I look forward to being there again next year.
Ivan Basso, questo Giro 2012, prime opinioni, la tappa a cui punteresti se ci fossi?
Per un atleta che deve cercare di vincere un Giro d'Italia, difficilmente così cura con particolare attenzione una tappa in particolare, cerca di curare ogni dettaglio dal primo all'ultimo giorno. Io perlomeno lavoro così da sempre, è chiaro che poi ci sono le tappe che ti piacciono più, tappe meno, però il Giro d'Italia è il sogno di ogni bambino che corre in bicicletta, quindi quando parti devi essere felice e affrontare ogni situazione perché sai che per quei 21 giorni è così.
Ci sarai?
questo lo possiamo dire, dateci almeno il tempo di parlarci con i tecnici e confrontarci con l'altro leader della squadra.
Grazie mille. Ivan Basso, of course, winner of the Giro d'Italia before, wants to win it again. And of course, if he has to do so, then he'll have to have a calculated look at each and every stage and decide, of course, who's best in his team to go for it.
Of all the stages to strike fear into the peloton, there is perhaps none that will have filled them with as much trepidation as the penultimate assault on the Stelvio. At 2,832 metres high, the 10th visit to the iconic climb will be written into Grand Tour history as the highest point ever negotiated on the Giro, Tour or Vuelta. The fact that it comes on the second to last day of the 2012 Giro has many suggesting that the Stelvio will decide the race itself. 1953 was the first time that the peloton took on the Passo Stelvio, Fausto Coppi defeating Hugo Koblet on his way to his final success in the Giro d'Italia. There have been 8 further assaults over the Stelvio in the past 58 years, the most recent in 2005 when Jose Rujano crossed the Cima Coppi in first place before finishing the stage itself in Livigno, third behind Ivan Para and Tadej Valjevec. Once again, expect the spectacular on a stage that will conclude with the Stelvio, but also include the Passo del Tonale, Aprica, Delio and the Mortirolo. 6.5 months to go to see who will succeed Alberto Contador in the Piazza del Duomo. Make sure you're with us then to see yet another edition of the world's toughest race.
I turn the music up, I got my records on. I shut the world outside until the lights come on. Maybe the streets are alive, maybe the trees are gone. I feel my heart start beating to my favorite song. And all the kids,
Le scénario de ce Giro.
Unter 29, sag ja.
Is Contador going to leave him have it?
Plus sa suprématie.
Yes, he is.
turn the music up, I'm on the world aside, and heaven is inside. I turn the music up, I got my records on. From underneath the rug, I'll sing a random song. Don't wanna see another generation drop. I'd rather be a comma than a full stop. Maybe I'm in the black, maybe I'm
Macht Alberto Contador.
Alberto
is
Contador is the best all-round rider in this Giro d'Italia.
Alberto Contador remporte le Tour d'Italie.
just in my